to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We're in season 4, episode number 26. Today's a songs edition, Andy. We're your hosts, Dan and Andy. Today is May 11th, 2023. Songs edition means we're going to have some music, concerts, tours, updates, album reviews, all sorts of good stuff, music related only. And then Andy will finish us, end the episode with a bunch of local events that are happening.
Some local stuff, album release coming up that we pre-talked about, a little update on it coming up. And of course, as we always say every show, support your local bars and local bar bands when they show up.
Yeah, we like to cover the tributes, the cover bands. Now, the interesting thing with today's album review, Andy, today's album review is a tribute, but it's also a kind of a new release. And a lot of our album reviews are 30, 40 years old.
And here's the weird thing. Our wheelhouse is the 80s, mostly, 80 to 89. This is a new album out in the last 6 months of stuff done in the 70s. Of stuff done in the 70s. So,
yeah, it's an interesting one. I think that the viewers will like, and probably one that the viewers have probably even never heard of, perhaps.
They'll appreciate it though.
Here we go. Hide. Here we go.
Get intern Kevin going there. What's going on?
I can't get it to let's
That's
see.
all right. We'll put a cover on our Facebook page.
You know what I'll do? We'll try this.
There you go.
And then try a little this.
A little that.
So this is a Paul Gilbert album. For those not familiar with Paul Gilbert,
Guitar.
We'll get into it here.
Big.
Paul Gilbert announced just early this year, he announced a surprise Ronnie James Dio tribute album, and this came out. Andy, I just looked. April 7th is when this first came out. So what Paul Gilbert did here, and I'm going to remove the branding, the logo here. Let's get rid of that because
we know
there's a lot to talk about on this episode. It was all basically news to me. Thanks to Andy. He's the one who presented it and proposed it, saying we should maybe cover this because he knows I'm a Dio fan. He himself is as well. Yep. So this came out April 7th. And so Paul Gilbert announced he's going to put together this tribute, doing a fully fledged Ronnie James Dio tribute album, which was released to honor the legacy of the late heavy metal great. And so Ronnie James Dio, of course, is a vocalist that was in the bands Rainbow, Black Sabbath, and his own Dio, really known for his vocals. But you, like myself, Andy, love the music, the drums, the guitars, and the bass on the Dio stuff, the Black Sabbath stuff, it's all the good music. So he says, you know what? It's a big surprise from Paul Gilbert because Paul Gilbert's own melting pot of fusion styles, both with his group Mr. Big and Racer X, and his own solo material is a drastic contrast to the music that Dio championed and is remembered for. So he never even played the heavy metal stuff.
Yep.
But in the aftermath of this, Gilbert decided to put together an entire album of Dio tracks, 12 total, that would capture the same raw energy and excitement, though he knew the task would be an especially tricky one given the difficulties he'd face attempting to translate Dio's commanding vocals into the instrumental guitar. So there's no vocals on this album. If the listeners are listening and trying to put this together, Andy, there's no vocals. No songs or no words are sung. He plays an electric guitar that mimics the tone of the lyrics. That sounds just like
in the 80s, if you ever listen to like Joe Satriani or some early Marty Freeman, where it's just guitar. Steve Vai does a lot of that stuff too.
Very interesting. It sounds just like it. Now, this is not, for anyone listening, this is not to replace. This doesn't overtake any of the Dio's work because Dio's works is so great in and of itself from the vocal standpoint. But this is a very good and interesting tribute because he plays the guitar, which means he had to break down each of the songs, each of the melodies, each of the notes to then play that note of each of the lyrics with the guitar and do it well as well. Not just play it, but It's very tricky. Trying to attempt to translate Dio's commanding vocals into instrumental guitar. Such translations took place by dissecting Dio's melody phrase by phrase, line by line, in a bid to faithfully tap into the original track's energy and emotion. In fact, the challenge to harness Dio's idiosyncrasies and nuances proved to be so demanding that it forced Gilbert to unlearn some of his razor sharp technical precision. He teaches guitar. He's a
Right.
professor.
Yep.
Of guitar. He's a master. He's razor sharp technical precision that is most commonly associated with his playing. You have to kind of undo that to get into the heavy metal mindset where it's not all that precise and precision. I found it very interesting. I bought this and reviewed it the last couple of weeks. And it's got 12 songs on it. Now, Paul Gilbert says that these amazing riffs are the steel girders of the songs, where everything else rests, because Paul Gilbert also plays the bass, the rhythm guitar, the lead guitar, all the guitar solos as well. And then he also plays the keyboards they're basically redoing these 12 songs. Yep. He brings in a drummer by the name of Bill Ray, and they reconstruct the entire songs altogether. I thought, Andy, by listening to this the first time, it was so crystal clear. I thought that Paul Gilbert arranged to get the music and just play his lead guitar solo work over the original tracks that were laid down in the studio years ago. But him and another guy laid down all the tracks new and fresh that sound exactly like it. You almost have to.
Paul Gilbert, like I say, he's a teacher, so he's kind of got for lack of better words, a perfectionist. He wanted to get it done just right. Not saying other guys couldn't have helped with the bass and the guitars, but he wanted to make sure it was done right, because it is a tribute album. It's not like, hey, we're doing this throw together album, everybody's going to play a Dio song, different bands. That's not what this is.
You can't.
He's paying.
You can't half-ass it. I mean, this is Ronnie James Dio, one of the best ever, one of my personal favorite vocalists of all time, and now he's trying to play or mimic a lead guitar for all the spots, all the vocals. So what they did was take the bands that Dio was in, and Paul Gilbert took 4 songs of the best Rainbow, the group Rainbow, the best songs that he did that really featured Ronnie James Dio, 4 songs from Black Sabbath when Ronnie James Dio was in Black Sabbath, and then 4 of the best tracks when Ronnie James Dio was in a solo career. So 4 songs of each of the 3 albums gives you 12 tracks. It's a nice breakdown. Here's the track listing. It starts off with Neon Lights, Kill the King, Stand Up and Shout. So right there, the first 3 songs, it's one of each of the genres, as we will, as it were, that he splits it up. The rest of the album is the same way. It's not all in the right chronological order. Songs 4 is Country Girl, a great song from Black Sabbath. Man on a Silver Mountain by Rainbow, and Holy Diver by Dio, which may be the best track on this whole album.
In your opinion.
And then song 7 is Heaven and Hell from Black Sabbath, that version. Long Live Rock and Roll from Rainbow. Lady Evil from Black Sabbath. Don't Talk to Strangers from Dio. Starstruck from Rainbow, and The Last in Line. So Andy, what I've got here for you is not only is he mimicking the voice of Ronnie James Dio on his guitar, he's mimicking Black Sabbath with Tony Iommi, Vivian Campbell with Dio, and Richie Blackmore. I don't know how he pulled this off.
Well, Paul Gilbert's one of those we've talked about, like. Okay, there we go. Sorry. But the group Generation X, how it was Nino Bettencourt and Steve Vai, just a bunch of great guitarists. Paul Gilbert would fit into a group like that. And I'm not comparing Gilbert to Eddie Van Halen, but he was one of those guys who just always loved to be on a guitar playing. Okay?
Yeah.
Not saying he's as good as Eddie or better, just that same type of attitude. Paul Gilbert, when he was with Mr. Big back in the 80s, was always doing different things, playing guitar, just a wizard. Is he on my Mount Rushmore guitarist? No. Is he in the argument of who's on your top 10 list? Yeah, I'll argue that all day. He should be on your top 10 list somewhere. He's very, but he's not out there a lot like a Steve Vai or a Betancourt or something like that. He just quietly does his stuff. He still teaches guitar. And that, again, the other guys appreciate what they do musically, but he's more into the music end of it, the teaching it, not the performing it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why something like this is a project for him. When you hear guys doing this, hey, I want to do a Dio album. Like I said, it's not a tribute album. I mean, it is, but I don't call it a tribute album. So a tribute album is like, hey, we got 12 different bands together. We're all going to play a Dio song. Okay, cool. Boom. That's not what this was. He paid homage to Dio and his music on this. Very good. And you look at that album cover, take out the words, that'd be a badass tattoo on your back right there. That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah.
But Paul Gilbert, if you can find out his other stuff, some of his Mr. Big stuff, Eraser X. So listen to the guitar in the background, especially on the first 2 Mr. Big albums. Billy Sheehan on bass. Beautiful stuff. Eric Martin on lead vocal. Great band. This album, I have to disagree with you, and it's because I'm more of a rainbow guy than anything else. Man on the Silver Mountain's the best song on the album. Sorry.
Yes. I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan.
That was mine.
Is a great song.
That is a great. So it's hard for me to find someone. But there's a lot of 1As and 1Bs for favorite songs on that. That's what this album is. What's your favorite song? It was 1A, 1B, 1C, down to whatever the 11th letter of the alphabet is, That had to be tough, though, to pick just 4 from each album. That
must have been a challenge in and of itself to come up with the 4.
I mean, you want to pick the ones that are popular so people know who they are. But, as an artist, there's that one song you liked you want to do, too. But, yeah, it's a must get. It's, again, it being an instrumental, it's a good background music, but it's also good to have in the cars you're driving. It's because it's Dio, for God's sake. It's just really a cool album.
One could call it a greatest hits of Ronnie James Dio as well, done by Paul Gilbert.
Right.
And Billy
Ray.
Who's the dude? Bill Ray. I don't know his background. I don't know who he is.
I looked up a little bit of him. He's just a studio drummer, just a guy who's not really known for any other bands. He's done some other stuff, but just probably like a Paul Gilbert, just a great drummer, just a professor of his craft. Someone who'd appreciate doing this. And then with Paul Gilbert, you wouldn't want to bring in a big name drummer to do this either, though.
Yeah. The drum tracks on these 12 songs are not easy either.
Right.
They're challenging for a new guy coming in to learn. I can't imagine the time it took to practice and to learn and to get this stuff down to put together this album, the time and the number of hours spent doing this. This is fantastic. That's
why Ray was a great drummer to bring in, because he did take time off from his band he's with. I could throw that together in 3 months for you. Now, these guys took time and did it right.
So that's what I've got here. He did release, one of the first song he released was "Holy Diver" was the song that was actually released as a single off this. But I can't imagine the everyday rock fan is going to know really anything about this. Even I didn't know until you brought it up, but now I own it. It's almost got to be one of those records you have to have in your collection if you're a heavy metal fan.
Right, and just appreciate it too.
Yeah, I got a kick out of it. I really enjoyed it. Now you've got some other stuff here coming up on the show. Let me bring that up.
Yeah.
Here we go.
There's my stuff. We're gonna start with some concerts here in the area.
Yes.
Medina does not have much going on, but the next one at Medina, our friends at Medina, is Tom Kiefer and LA Guns, July 22nd. Getting closer and closer. Very much excited.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
And also now, La Musique Room on St. Michael, Rockstar Bob is going to be there. Just a little background in this so you know. You're looking at this and you go, oh, that guy's just a cheap ripoff of Hairball. Well, he was in Hairball at one time, so yeah. And when he does Alice Cooper stuff, He's in an Almost Cooper band, which is an Alice Cooper tribute band, which Alice Cooper has performed with and has acknowledged them as being the best Alice Cooper tribute band there is.
Okay.
When he does Alice Cooper, he says, yes, these are live snakes out there. So.
That would be worth the price of admission alone.
Now, Summerfield Amphitheater in St. Michael also has some great outdoor concerts coming up in May and June. And these aren't all on Friday and Saturday nights. Some of these are on school nights. So pay attention. Here we go. Now, these aren't all in our wheelhouse for our genre of music, but I'm just showing the different music styles they have there. So a lot of places here, oh, this bar, they only play country music. They only play rock music. I'm proving to you that just because it's Summerfield Amphitheater, see what they're playing because they got everything. Mallrats Show.
Wide range.
Nitty Gritty Dirt Band playing there. Songs of the South, an Alabama tribute band. Arch Allies, which we've talked about here. And then there's one there. It's a Thursday night, June 22nd. Back in Black, an AC/DC tribute band with Heartless opening up.
Okay.
But that's on a Thursday night. That's on a school night, a work night.
Outdoors.
But it's outdoors, so that could be good.
Oh, yeah.
Also, awesome. Route 47, they got a lot of good stuff down in Fridley, Minnesota. Here's their schedules coming up. That Pesky Kids tomorrow night. Menace on the 13th for your entertainment coming up. Mad Alice on the 20th. There you go.
I got to write that down.
May 20th, Mad Alice.
May 20th, Mad Alice. Okay, that's Mad Season and Alice in Chains combined.
Yeah. Yes. And then their open mic nights. I've seen a lot of bands playing there on open mic nights on Thursdays. That's also a good time. Okay, here we go, Dan. New releases. Again, another one we've talked about in the past. It's all set. The Dolly Parton rock album's coming out.
Okay, I've seen a lot of this on social media now.
They don't know which album cover they're going with yet.
Oh my God!
There's my personal favorite. There's my personal favorite right there.
Oh my goodness!
It's due out November 17th. You either get 2 CDs or 4 LPs. And I'm sorry, on this one, I'm getting the LPs. When you hear this lineup, Dan, 30 songs.
Oh, it's like a box set.
30 songs, in case you didn't hear me the first time.
Okay.
Here we go. Here's the lineup. And when you look this up on Wikipedia, only one of these songs has a time length on it yet. They haven't finished really cutting it down. So, Rockstar featuring Richie Sambora. You know him from Bon Jovi fame. World on Fire. Every Breath You Take with Sting. Open Arms with Steve Perry from Journey. Sting, of course, with the Police. Magic Man with Ann Wilson.
Love it.
As Long as You Could See the Light with John Fogerty. Either Or with Kid Rock. I Want You Back with Steven Tyler. What Has Rock and Roll Ever Done to You with Stevie Nicks. She's going to do a cover of Purple Rain, which Dolly can do Purple Rain, I think.
Yes.
Baby, I Love Your Way with Peter Frampton.
Excellent.
How I Hate Myself for Loving You with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Okay.
Night Moves with Chris Stapleton. Wrecking Ball with Miley Cyrus, which is her godchild, so you know that was going to be on there. I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Yeah, Miley Cyrus is her godchild. No. Yep.
Say that again? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, Miley Cyrus, yeah. Billy Ray and Dolly were real tight. Billy Ray had a kid and goes, Dolly, will you be Miley's godparent? And, of course, Dolly.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I Can't Get No Satisfaction with Pink and Brandy Carlisle. So there's that one. Keep on Loving You with Kevin Korn from REO Speedwagon. Heart of Glass with Debbie Harry, or Blondie as she's known as then. Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me with Elton John. Tried to Rock and Roll Me with Melissa Etheridge. Stairway to Heaven with something called Lizzo and Sasha Flute. That'll be another song I skip. Well, the Peter Frampton one. We Are the Champions. Bygones with Rob Halford and special guest Nikki Sixx and John 5.
Wow.
My Blue Tears with Simon LeBone from Duran Duran. What's Up with Linda Perry. You're No Good with Emmylou Harris and Sheryl Crow. Heartbreaker with Pat Benatar. Bittersweet with Michael McDonald. I've Dreamed About Elvis with Ronnie McDowell. Let It Be with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr with Peter Frampton and Mick Fleetwood. And to finish it off, Dan, like everybody requests, Freebird with Ronnie Van Zant.
Of course.
Play Freebird, Dolly. And she's going to.
Dolly plays Freebird.
That's worth the whole set right there. That's worth the whole thing. Dolly Parton doing Freebird.
Yeah, that's quite a collection there, Andy.
Oh, wait. You think this show can't get any better, Dan?
Uh-oh.
I remember when I was 7 years old who my favorite band was. Who now I'm in my early 50s. They finally get their own TV show and I can watch it. Yes, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
The Electric Mayhem. Animal.
Zoot, Floyd, Janice on guitar. Yes, and Dr. Teeth himself. The Muppets Mayhem on Disney Plus. First episode was last night. I have not seen it yet. But yes. Dreams come true. Are you going to
do a review?
When it's all done, I will summarize the series.
A full review.
Yes. I remember watching Dr. Teeth and them do a cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia on the Muppet Show once.
Okay.
And they had to edit it down for time restraint reasons, but yeah.
Now,
so my favorite.
That is some good stuff. The only thing I've got to add is, you know that Moondance is still doing their concerts up north?
Yes, they've got it as two different. They used to have two different ones, a country one and a rock one. Another kind of do it like the same weekend, I think, a Friday, Saturday deal.
Well, what I've got, and maybe we get folks can tune in on this if they know more about it. I just saw that July 20th through 22nd is going to have Stone Temple Pilots, Rick Springfield, Gin Blossoms, Thunderstruck.
It's a girl AC/DC,
which is an AC/DC tribute band, Hairball, and Foreplay, plus many more. And so that is unreal. It's the event of the summer is what they're calling it. So I wasn't aware of that. I'm not going to be able to get to it. But
when we went to go see Def Legend, Angie, who was with us, intern wannabe Angie, she usually goes to that every year. So I'll see if she can file a report for us afterwards.
So that sounds like a pretty good lineup, but that's July 20th through the 22nd. So
yes,
that's good stuff. That's all I've got. Anything more from your end?
No, that's all I got too. Just like I said, bars are opening up their patios. Local bands will be out. House bands, whatever y'all call them. These aren't just three guys who can play guitar and drums singing glorified karaoke. These are really good guys. One thing I didn't mention in the concert, tomorrow night, Delano Legion, Isaiah Mueller and the boys are going to be out there. And we are working on getting him and Mike on the show coming up pretty soon too. So,
well, that'll be good. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. Have a good week.
See ya.